And here's our safe harbor statement. You're going to hear a couple of things from me today that are on the edge of newness. So they may not happen. I just want you all to be aware that, you know, things are fluid and we constantly are giving you the information as we know. So again, we're using Zoom. Pretty much all of us know how to do this in today's day and age. There's a little Q&A button at the bottom. If you want to ask a question, just click on that at the end of the session. I'll try to answer any questions that somebody asks or that people ask. Basically, GSI, we're a full service consulting organization and managed services organization that not only provides application, industry development, technology experience, but we also offer advanced artificial intelligence and automation tools that help you deliver within your JDE realm, okay? We are located globally. We have offices nationwide, but we do have partners across the globe. So we're 24/7. As I said, full service ERP, IaaS, cybersecurity. Our people are not only certified within Oracle and the products that we support, but our people are also certified in industry and have various other technology certifications, et cetera, et cetera. I mentioned that we do develop product that helps augment not only JD Edwards, but other softwares that you may employ. We do offer support services and services around those products listed at the bottom. The most important thing on this slide is on the right-hand side, the signature 100% guarantee on our services. If you're unhappy, we ask you to let us try and make it right. And if we can't, unfortunately for us, we will give you your money back, give you a credit toward our services. As I said, you can see our awards and professional certifications, those applications that we support, the technologies that we support, as well as our industry certifications. We have a simple mission. A simple mission is to make every customer a client. We do not want to have a customer-vendor relationship. We want to have a client-partner relationship. And we believe that we accomplish that by offering those core values to you and by demonstrating to you these core values. And last but not least, our products that we offer, some of them are germane to this conversation. Our Genius Augmented Intelligence tool, which is for any of your mission critical systems that is able to monitor and proactively report and record different types of issues and things of that nature that may arise on your system. We have a Genesis performance optimizer that measures and maximizes your software systems. It is agnostic to JD Edwards, can be used for any of your systems to help you understand how to resource them and level load, things of that nature. When we talk about JD Edwards, especially in today's day and age, there's other tools like Rapid Reconciler that help you reconcile your perpetual to your general ledger. But more than that, it gives you subsidiary ledgers for received not vouchered and goods in transit. For G Shield, it's a two-factor authentication tool. We are now all remote workers and we might not use a PC. We might use a smartphone or other device. G Shield allows you to get two-factor authentication for sign-in so you can secure the people signing into your environment, as well as lets them reset their password without having to go, and contact CNC in the middle of the night. And the nice one is Genome in the lower left. That is a new tool that we came out with that actually helps go into your system, identify customizations that you have within your system that could be alleviated and removed by the use of Orchestrator. So again, just a few of the products. Go to our website. You can get some testimonials. Having said all that, let's get into this thing and let's talk about, what's going on here. It's important to understand JD Edwards and when it was founded. It was founded back in 77, 40 some odd years ago. And it was founded by Jack Thompson, Chuck Hintz, Dan Gregory, and Ed McVaney. And that's how the name JD Edwards came about, right? From their initials and Ed's name. Back in 1997, the company went public under, the symbol JDEC. I was there, fortunately, working at JD Edwards at the time. And then in June of 2003, Ed decided that we'll sell to PeopleSoft for $1.8 billion. Now, Larry found out about that. He wasn't too happy because he wanted to buy PeopleSoft. And so, he didn't want JD Edwards. He just wanted PeopleSoft. So when PeopleSoft turned around and bought JD Edwards, he turned around and said, okay, in 2005, he said, I'll buy both companies. I'll buy PeopleSoft and JD Edwards. And at the time I sat there as well as some of my coworkers, and we said, hey, what's going to happen to us? Larry said he didn't want JD Edwards. Are we going to go? Well, here we are in 2021. JD Edwards is still one of the top 5 revenue producing units within Oracle, and they have no plan on getting rid of JD Edwards in the foreseeable future. So if we think about this, 1977, JD Edwards came out. This is for some of you older people on the webinar like myself. What else happened? We had Jimmy Carter's brother started Billy Bear. And then 1996, when Ed McVaney came out with One World, that quote unquote open architecture type of software, that's when Tickle Me Elmo was introduced. Then we turned around in September of 24 when we went public, JD Edwards went public. Well, what ended up happening? We had the Palm Pilot. I don't think many people see any of those anymore. I still have mine sitting in my desk drawer. In fall of 2000, when we took that B733 application, we rebranded it to One World XE. Well, that's when the 128K zip drive was introduced. Now think about today, 20 years later, the type of storage capacity you get in one little zip drive. When PeopleSoft acquired JD Edwards in 2003, that's the last time the Concorde flew. Then we turned around when Oracle bought JD Edwards in 2005. What ended up happening is Xbox was introduced 16 years ago. 2012, Applications 9.1 came out. We had Superstorm Sandy that hit the East Coast. And I like this picture because when I was looking at it, that superstorm covered all of Europe. That's how big it was. Now, in 2015, we had a couple of things happen in 2015. The most infamous one was Deflategate. But more importantly than that, poor little Pluto was no longer considered a planet. Now, here we are in 2020, 2021. We're on the latest apps, on the latest tools. And what do we have? We have Elon Musk, who's not only taking over the world, but Elon Musk is also trying to take over outer space. So this slide, what I'm trying to show you here is how quickly technology changes and how quickly we as people need to adapt and move forward. So you have to say to yourself, as an individual, as an organization, where do you need to be? Now, some of you are still on the left-hand side of this screen. We need to get going and get you to the right-hand side, because in today's day and age, we need the ability to interact and to communicate and to do things on a very seamless basis, regardless of where we are in the world. Back in 1970, Theodore Wang, he came out with the first word processor. The first time anybody other than using a typewriter with a ribbon and paper and carbon paper, person could sit at a computer keyboard and type something. Well, look what happened. All of a sudden we had WordStar, WordPerfect, then Bill Gates came along with World. Wang came and went. And nobody is going to school now to learn that kind of language, to learn how to develop and how to use software. And it holds true for your JD Edwards system as well. Your JD Edwards system has radically changed, okay? What we are looking at now is we are looking at an evolution of how JD Edwards and Oracle delivers the software. So if you look at this timeline and you figure out where you are, hopefully you are nowhere on this. Hopefully you don't even see the release level that you're dealing with. And if you notice this slide, you'll notice that every time they came out with a release, it was a very intrusive thing to your business. Every time they went from 8.9 to 8.10, it was like a whole new reinstall. When it went from 9.0 to 9.1, it was like a whole new reinstall. Well, if you look at today, and you look at 9.1 forward, you'll notice those big silver dots. Those are major releases. There has not been one since 9.2 came out in 2015. What we get now is these smaller updates for tools, for applications. They're either singular or they're cumulative. And now Oracle said, you're going to be supported if you're on 9.2. You're going to be supported not till 2030, not till 2031. But if some of you that are going to listen to InFocus next week, the week after next, you might hear from Oracle that that date has changed again. Okay? So 9.2 is the software level of choice. I'm going to say to you right now, if you're not on 9.2, you need to get on 9.2. And the reason is because Oracle, starting years ago, with upgrade to the 9s, get on a 9 release, get off of XE, because we want you to upgrade in 100 days. We're going to teach you how to go ahead and do that, how you can upgrade your software less than 3 months. We're going to teach you of the simplified upgrade, the way where if you have custom code and you do it the right way, that custom code's not going to go away. It'll stay and you don't have to retrofit it. Again, saving you time and money. We're going to introduce Internet of Things. We're going to introduce a way for you to automate process and to integrate process with other devices and software. We're going to let your people become citizen developers. We're going to let your people start to control how the software works for them, what you can or can't do, so that we can remove bottlenecks of IT and development and things like that. I'm not being disparaging to IT, but it takes time. All of this is going to lead to a whole new user experience. But guess what? Just like Oracle started with upgrade to the 9s, they haven't stopped. We are now in a mode where we're getting artificial intelligence, we're getting machine learning, we're getting machine-to-machine processing. All of these things Oracle started 10 years ago and are migrating because your ERP system is evolving and changing, right? So what you need to do is you need to look at this graph and say, if you're on any of this, you're bad. You're in the worst world you can be in. So if you're not on release 9.2, you need to make that conscientious effort to get there. And I'm going to tell you that if you're not on 9.0, 9.1, 9.2, your path to get there will be longer and it will be more costly than if you were on 9.1 or 9.2, because your support is gone. If you're on anything other than 9.2, you no longer have extended or premier support. You are just on sustaining support. You do not get 1099s. You do not get W-2s. You do not get bug fixes. And World, unfortunately for World, yes, 9.4 is the latest and greatest. The philosophy on how to upgrade 9.4 is similar. But 9.4, you're not getting the robustness. You're not getting not only the application functionality, you're not getting the underlying tools functionality that you could get if you were on EnterpriseOne. So while I still feel World is a great product, those of you on World, even if you're on 9.4, you should contemplate, if possible, to move, because it's all about this continuous delivery now from Oracle. It's all about them saying, I'm not going to give you big bang updates anymore. I'm going to give you these little chunks every so often so that you can continually innovate and continually consume and use what you need to use. So as I said, we're on 9.2.5 for applications, 9.2.5 for tools, support going to be beyond December of 2031. So what are we talking about? Is your JD Edwards system, is it evolving or is it revolutionizing? Well, evolution is simply saying, hey, something, I'm just making that one thing, better and better and better. But for your JD Edwards system, you're truly in a revolution. We had the first industrial revolution for mechanization in water and steam power. And then Henry Ford came along with the mass production and assembly line for the second industrial revolution. And then all of a sudden came the computer and automation, and people thought, oh my God, that's the greatest thing. And how can we get even better? Well, even that's gone now, because now we're into cyber and physical systems, and that's the fourth revolution. But we're beyond that now. We're in a fifth industrial revolution. We have taken the citizen developer and we have made that so much better. We have said, even though the user has the power in their hands to do certain things, we're going to augment that even more with technology and with mechanization and with artificial intelligence. So now we're going to be able, not only as people, as citizen developers, to be alerted and analyze and act on things, which we used to do on the left, that whole UX1 experience. It's now shifting, because with Orchestrator can now detect things, can decide what to do, and actually process that. And Oracle's going even further with machine learning for them to do the machines without even human intervention. So it's more than just the citizen developer. In the past, when Ed started this, we were a traditional ERP system. Put in an entry, record the entry, put it in a table someplace. Then we moved to that digital world with mobile and IoT. And today we're in the robotic processing and natural language and supervised ERP systems. And many people think we're not even in the intelligent ERP space anymore, but that's not true. Oracle has developed things in JD Edwards for your assisted and automated decision making and for machine learning. It's there, it's in the system. So what you have to determine now is you have to understand where Oracle is going. Oracle really has three main missions, three main pillars in their mission: to simplify, to optimize, and to transform JD Edwards. And when they talk about that, they want to say that simplification is really automating and focusing on the system administration and how JD Edwards can be dispersed throughout the organization and consumed throughout the organization. Optimization is, as a user, why does Tom have to continually do these mundane tasks? Why does Tom constantly have to do 2 or 3 or 4 different tasks? Why can't I optimize a process where it can all be done for Tom and he doesn't have to worry about it? And last but not least, your system in general, how can that system work better with, outside of itself? How can it work holistically with everything that's out there and available? So when you look at Oracle today, and this started about 6 months ago, 8 months ago, when you look at Oracle, they're looking at application optimization so that you can protect your business, you could improve your business, as well as future-proof your business by making sure that you're doing everything statutorily, regulatorily. You're doing all the things you need to do to make sure that your business thrives. You're also, from a digital perspective, looking to lower the cost of maintenance in your system and lower the cost of modifications and things by letting you automate processes. And lastly, they're looking to say, hey, how can your system run itself? How can it turn around and literally just maintain itself and get better and better and better? And then, again, that's augmented intelligence, artificial intelligence, right? So when you look at your JDE system, understand that it has many layers, right? The most common one that everybody knows about is the user interface. You sign on, you have screens in front of you. The user interface is what people consume day in and day out. However, underneath all of those, you have applications that are running. And those applications get enhanced, bugs get fixed, et cetera, et cetera. So your user interface performs better. But the most important thing in your JDE system is your tools and foundation layer. That's what the system is built upon. It's what drives JD Edwards. It's what makes it go. All right. So when we talk about your tools and your infrastructure layer, let's just take a quick look at how quickly and how often Oracle is providing you these new updates, these new fixes, these new tools. 9.2 came out in October 2015. There was a hiatus for a couple of years, but then in November, 9.2.2 came out. More enhancements to applications. And now in 11.18, 9.2.3 came out. And in 2019, 9.2.4 came out, and here we are in 2020. So it looks like every year, Oracle is bundling enhancements and new functionality and giving it to you. So that's on an application layer. That's that top layer. But now if you look at the tools in the same period of time, look at how often and how many changes are being done, not in a year, but basically every 6 months, 6 to 8 months. Look at the constant changes to the underlying backbone of JD Edwards that allows that citizen developer, that allows you as users to become more efficient, to have the system become more efficient. So when you see this, you have to say to yourself that we need to be in this continuous innovation mode. So 9.2.5, what type of enhancements are in 9.2.5? Well, if you look right now, you can see that some of it is in project costing, right? Job master, forecasting. There's been enhancements in manufacturing. I love the work order ledger. We'll talk about that in a second. Quality management, inventory management, a couple of new changes. Warehousing and procurement, some changes. Now you'll notice that there's only 1 or 2 enhancements. Why? Because the software in and of itself is working for business. And the way Edwards was built is that you don't need a discrete process for every single, a discrete application for every single thing you do, because each application can be configured to do things differently and conduct business differently. And we'll talk about that in a little bit too. You'll see that order management has some, and real estate and grower management. And then you have capital asset management and HCM as well. And then financials, right? We have some things in financials. And last but not least, we have across the board just legislative and regulatory and localization kinds of things. So you as people, if you want to understand what's going on in JD Edwards, I'm going to show you where you need to go to get that. But work order ledger is nice because for those of you that know the sales order ledger, it tells you the life cycle of a sales order, what happened to it, where it came, where it went. The same thing for work orders now. Now you can understand, what stage was a work order at when this happened to it. And then the same thing on use of obsolete items in CAM. You could turn around and find out that if you go to put an obsolete item on a work order, that it's not going to let you do that, okay? And let's quickly talk about some tools enhancements. I'm not going to talk about all of these. I'm only going to talk about a couple that are germane to our discussion today. We know that Oracle is moving to a complete web-enabled package build process, right? So there's going to be no longer any quote-unquote fat clients where you have to build a package and then deploy it or whatever. Everything is going to be done through the web, right? The web OMW process. This one is key, form extensibility improvements. And we'll see a slide in a second that'll go even further in this. When you're in an application and you're looking at an application, you're not looking at necessarily all the fields in that application that might have data. Because when Oracle developed that application, they used something called a form design aid that said, hey, when you pull the information back, I only want to show you these things. Well, now form extensions allow you to take those hidden fields and display them on your screen. In the past, your IT group had to create a whole new business view. They had to create a whole new application for you to see that field. You remember those user-defined fields that Oracle introduced because people wanted to store additional information? Now you have the ability through a form extension to literally go in and quote unquote unhide a field and put it on a form. To me, that's a huge thing. Orchestrator can now grab larger data sets and also allows variables to be put into their REST services calls. And another thing is you can pass your credentials now for your user over to some external hosted web application. These extended configuration between the enterprise and AIS server, again, that's for Orchestrator to help Orchestrator run. And for those of you that are CNC people, you know about your zombie kernels and things like that. Now there's an automated troubleshooting tool that can alert you as to why the kernel failed or why it may fail. This assertion framework for orchestrations, this is a good deal too. When you use orchestration, and orchestration really should be your integration tool of choice, you can now set within your orchestration parameters to turn around and say that these conditions have to be met or this value has to be met in order for the orchestration to complete. And if it doesn't complete, give me an exception. So now think about this. You can use your orchestration as a test case to see if data conversions will work or to see if some other integrations will work. So orchestrations now has gotten a lot more robust and simply from being an integration tool to now could be used as a testing tool as well. Search improvements. You're going to see that if I get to my quick demo, you're going to see how now you can search for an exact match versus you can search just for any characters within the string. Online help, you can embed UPK now in your online help. This one is still critical. You know that sooner or later you have to go to 64-bit. Well, in Tools 925, it's not a requirement unless you're on HPUX or Solaris. So if you're on HPUX or Solaris and you want to go to Tools 925, you have to go 64-bit. Otherwise, you can still wait, but it's only a matter of time. So I would suggest some people, if you're going to do an upgrade, let's say you're going to go from Tools 9.1 and you want to go to 9.25, I would suggest you throw 64-bit in there as well, because it's an effort, you might as well do it. Now, where can you get all this information? LearnJDE.com. If you go to LearnJDE.com, there's going to be buttons there for applications 925 or tools 925. But if you search and you just say, give me compare releases, I want to see the difference between apps 921 and 925. You type in compare releases, it's going to bring you to a page where there's a button that says, hey, compare releases. You click on that button, you're going to get into the Oracle site. Now, every one of your organizations, if you're paying support dollars to Oracle, you have a company ID. And your administrator for Oracle can assign you as a user and set you up with that company ID so that you can get into Oracle and you can search and look around the Knowledge Garden and all that good stuff. So when you sign on, you'll turn around and you'll get to a screen that says, okay, you want to compare releases, right? For EnterpriseOne. What do you want to compare? I want to compare an application or I want to compare a tools release. And you can see on the right-hand side that, you know, LearnJDE, they've already created some that they thought people might want to see. So you could just click there and get the PDF. But it's a way for you to go in and those things I just showed you, you can click on the little plus sign and you can get more verbiage as to what they are and what they do. If you want, we have some other links that are applicable to this whole upgrade process and to what's going on. Reach out to GSI, right? Shoot us an email at getgsi.com and tell us, hey, I'd like to learn more about joint venture management, or I'd like to learn more about the documentation library, and we'll share things with you, okay? Now, it's important to understand that, you know, I quickly went through all of these upgrades and enhancements and all, and some of you might be sitting there And some of you may be saying, well, I don't care because I like my applications the way they are. I don't have to worry about it. Well, you're not being in a continuous innovation mindset. And if you just say, well, I'll take it anyway and just be done with it, that's cold currency and that's not continuous innovation. Continuous innovation means that Oracle's going to put something out there. They're going to deliver something to you. Now it's up to you to look at it, to identify if it's good enough for you, and if it is, to adopt it in your organization. So I know the tools releases, we showed you that 3, 4, 5, 6 come out every 6 months. Tom's not saying that you need to take them all the time, but you should take these things, you should put them in your test environment. You should allow all your users to get in there and play and see what's going on, and then figure out as an organization, what should you adopt? And you should at least upgrade, in my opinion, you should upgrade every 6 months. Now, once you're on release 9.2, to do that process I just talked about, to take it, to upgrade your environment and not necessarily implement new functionality, you can get yourselves up and running in 6 weeks, right? Less than 6 weeks. You could turn around and do an upgrade. So it's no longer taking months and months and months. You need to strengthen JD Edwards because Oracle is going to continue to put things out there. You need to continually identify and evaluate those things that are in the release so that you can adapt to market changes and you can succeed quickly and continue to get a short return on your investment. Those of you that are on 9.1, those of you that are on 9.0 applications, it's going to cost you more money and time to upgrade than somebody's that's on apps 9.2 that wants to go to 9.25, because the foundation hasn't been laid down yet for that. So we're trying to automate development and operations. We're trying to automate common tasks. They're trying to lower your enterprise costs, and they want you to become a more proactive and self-correcting system, right? They don't want you as organizations to need specialized skills to manage JD Edwards and maintain JD Edwards. But even though they do that, you still will have a challenge. Your technical challenge is your organization going to be able to understand all the information about the updates? And are you going to be able to understand those minimum technical requirements, those NTRs, and the dependencies that your other systems have if you look to take JD Edwards? I'm dealing with several clients right now that want to go to Tools 9.25, but they cannot. They cannot because they have other systems that can't support the levels of Windows and SQL and things like that. They have bigger things to change than simply just JD Edwards. So you need to always evaluate the change and the impact it's going to have on your other systems and services, right? And you have to know how you're going to manage that change. And at the same time, use tools that can automate the testing needs to see what's going on. Now, that's from a technical perspective. But what about your people? If you don't let your people in on what's going on, they're going to be happy staying where they're at. I can't tell you how many clients I go to that when they do a process, and that process is still creating errors or situations where they have to do other things, maybe 2 or 3 steps, they're okay with that because they at least know that that's what's going to happen. To introduce them to something new, there's going to be some type of resistance. That's why when you're evaluating change now, you need to involve both sides of the business, IT and the business lines, right? You need, as IT, to become that partner of the line of business to say, hey, what can we help? What can we implement? What can we do, right? And by taking these smaller changes, there's less for you to test, there's less for you to train on than if you wait and wait and wait and take it all at once. enhance your citizen developer, take the technology, utilize the technology so that it can help you detect and decide and do things so that you can remove the human aspect from it. Because you have to remember that the strength in your digital technology is not the technology. It's how you as an organization and you as a person, how you're going to look at that and how you're going to integrate that into your business. So that's what you need to do. You need to learn to thrive. You need to learn to transform your business and make it better and stronger so that you're always at the forefront of your business. You need to align your business to the process, to the people. You need to understand that there's going to be new opportunities that you need to put into your business. You need to understand that you have to focus on your business. Now, some of you may remember this slide. This is thanks to Lyle 4 years ago. Lyle Ekdahl did this at Collaborate. You need to understand the value of the choices you're making, right? And you need to engage in new ideas. Now, I just said Lyle did this 4 years, maybe 5 years ago. This is what Lyle and JD Edwards was saying that you needed to do with your system. How many of you have done that? Okay. So remember, JD Edwards used to be a system of record. I put in a transaction, it records a transaction, big deal. Now JD Edwards is a market share expansion machine for your business. And it is a market share expansion machine because it's taking the people, understanding what the people need to do their jobs, right? Citizen developer, UX1. It's looking at the processes and automating the processes with Orchestrator and artificial intelligence and things of that nature. It's building better technology. And your JDE system, by doing all of these things, is creating that sweet spot that gives you that business value that you need. All right. So let's take a quick look. I'm going to hopefully, in a matter of a few minutes, walk you through just what it might look like. And Brittany, if you're still there, if you could just let me know that, yeah, Tom, I can still see your screen.
I can still see your screen.
Thank you, miss. So what I want to show you rather quickly is I want to show you that I'm in 925. This is 925 tools, 925 apps. It's the latest Megillah all the way around. And I have this one little landing page I created. But what I want to show you is you can start from the simplest thing. I can start from a search group, and I could create a search group. And my search group right now said, I want to drive from my sales order detail file, because maybe somebody calls me up and says, hey, you know, what about item X? Or hey, what about my order Y? So I want to drive from my sales order table and I want to define what the layout's going to look like. And when data comes back on my screen, I want to be able to drill into related information. I want to drill in and see the customer ledger. What invoices are open? What else is happening? Or maybe I want to drill into the purchase order and see the purchase order detail. What's going on there? And then if I really want to do an action, maybe I want to go out to item availability and perform something in item availability, or again in customer ledger, or maybe I want to launch a dashboard and I want to be able to see things pictorially. So I created this search group, and this is what it allows me to do. I could come out here now, and here's this little search button. I could come in here and I could say, okay, I want to search on 210. And do I want to search on just my group or everybody? Now, it just so happens I only have mine out there, but theoretically, if all of you created a search group, we could share each other's, okay? So look what I can do. I said, I want to see 210. And look what it did. It found everything that had 210 in it, right? 210. I could simply say the same thing. I could say, well, wait, I want to look at something that starts with 42. And I might see an item number that had 42. I might see a customer number that had 42. So I could turn around and I could say, okay, I want to see 42, 42. It's going to come back. Here's customer 42, 42. What can I do? Well, remember I said I want to see customer ledger information, or maybe I wanted to see purchase order information. I can now see this on my screen. I can see, talk to the client, say, hey, what are you talking about? Yes, I noticed you have a couple of orders out there. Or what happens if I turn around and I said, hey, for this customer, wait a minute, maybe I want to drill into, customer ledger inquiry. And I launch customer ledger inquiry. And when I'm here, look at what I can do. I could turn around and, whatever form extension, whatever query, whatever I develop, I could turn around and I could change these things. So maybe I did a grid personalization where I have a list view instead of a table view. I could turn around and change that as well. So you have that flexibility and functionality. So I'm saying, okay, yeah, I'm done with this. Well, wait a minute. Maybe what I want to look at instead is I want to look at my top 10 customers. And how does 4242 interrelate to that? Well, here's my top 10 customers. And again, from here, I could drill down, do a lot of things. What I could also do is I could come here and say, wait a minute, maybe I don't want to see all my orders. Maybe I want to come here. And again, this is an enhancement. Maybe I want to define an additional query filter. And maybe I want to select a unique document type. So maybe I'm going to come down here, and I apologize if I'm getting you dizzy by scrolling so fast, but I just want to make sure I get through this thing. Maybe I want to look at only direct ship orders or orders that are S4 order types. So I could say, okay, let me see that, and look at how my grid changes. And I say, wait a minute, wait, that's not right. Maybe what I really want to see is SO orders. So now I come back in here and I say, instead of S4, maybe I want to see SO. And I change it to SO and I say, okay. And now all of a sudden it changes. And if I want to drill into something, I could go and I could click into it. If I didn't want to see a customer, I can, deselect the customer and not have him show up. All those things I did before that Tom created, and Tom is not a technical wizard. Tom was able to create all these and be done with it. Now, let's say I don't want any more query filters. I could turn around, get rid of it, and it's back to the way it was. Okay? So this is a way where you could turn around as an organization, let your people consume the changes that are coming out and about from Oracle, all right? So let's finish up. Let me talk to you lastly about this. What I just showed you with search is using UDOs and a bunch of different UDOs, right? Form extension, form personalization, search, Cafe One, it's using a bunch of them. If you want to understand how to create these on your own, GSI will offer you some remote training, $4.99 a student, sign up 14 days, within 14 days of this webinar. We will work with you to help you understand how you can do all this, okay? Go to our website. You'll get recorded webcasts, upcoming webcasts. You'll be able to read our newsletter. You can go to our resource center where you can get fact sheets and things of that nature. You'll see when we have additional workshops coming up. Our workshop literally has you creating these UDO examples on your own. We have a blog, and things in the blog. We also have erp-talk.com where you can ask us a question and a human will get back to you with an answer. So turn around. We're trying to help you thrive. We're trying to give back to the ecosystem and letting you, be able to participate in all these new things that are coming out. We're on a vast array of social media, okay? So with that, You can see the contact information on your screen. Let me see right now if there is any kind of questions. I don't know. I don't think there are, Brittany, correct?
I don't see any.
Okay, well, this is what I'm going to say to people. I say this to people all the time. I appreciate you as an individual jumping on this because you had an interest and you wanted to understand something. GSI, Tom, we're more than willing that if you go back to your organization and say, hey, you know what? They talked about X, Y, and Z. Wouldn't it be great if we can get them to show us or talk to us or give us some kind of demo on this? We're more than happy to do that for you. So if you go back to your organization and somebody says, geez, I'd like to understand more on how we can use search and this kind of stuff, we'll put a presentation together for you. We'll sit down, we'll give it to your organization. We're all about helping. And I'm telling you right now, you know, I alluded to it in the past, you know, when I said when JDE went public, Tom was there. Well, I was there, you know, a lot earlier than that as well. And I was one of those people that had that green screen. And I started in a system where every single option for accounts payable, everything you could do with AP, from system setup to processing, was all on one screen. That's how, I'm going to use the word archaic, it was. It is, you know, if this software was around back in my day when I was actually in industry, it would have been a whole new life-changing experience. So having said that, everybody, unless you have a question, you can see how to contact us. Feel free to do so. Brittany, as always, I thank you for joining me today. I apologize for the technical difficulties we had up front, but we seem to work through them. I wish everybody a safe rest of your day, and everybody take care of yourself. And like I say, if you need anything, just let us know.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you, Ms. Brittany.